Hey, guess what, guys? I'm back. My name is Travis Bean, and in this channel we talk Kanye West. I say I'm back, but I actually never left. I've been stuck in this black hole, this black abyss you all have decided I must be in. It's a punishment for something I've done. I think it was because I said I like drunken hot girls. I'm sorry. In the show we try to understand every Kanye song, its place in the album narrative, and I thought Drunken Hot Girl had some highs, but if I say I don't like it, will you let me out? No, I haven't learned my lesson yet. Okay, anyway, I guess I'll just keep reporting on the news while I'm here. This is a big one, if it's true. I guess of Kanye, you never know what's true and what isn't. But this does come from the Donda Times Twitter page, and Chris sent me this, so I will say that I don't know how trustworthy anybody is, but if Chris is sending me it, then it's they must be a trusted voice in the Kanye community. And as you can see here, let me zoom in on this. Malik Yusef, longtime collaborator with Kanye West. They've had their ups and downs over the years, but he's in Kanye's camp right now. Said during an Instagram live today. Okay, if it was during Instagram live, it must have happened. I don't know why I was questioning how trustworthy it was. I think I'm just always overly cautious, if anything, Kanye. You never know what's true and what isn't. But if it was said during Instagram Live, I trust Donda Times here. It was said during Instagram Live today that Kanye and Kanye's crew were dissatisfied with Jesus is King and potentially want to make a comeback with a Donda trilogy. I guess there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, Kanye being unsatisfied with Jesus is King. I mean, I know generally in the Kanye community, it's not a very well-regarded album. A lot of people don't like it. I, of course, love it. I love every Kanye album and think Jesus is King has so many attributes and strengths that other Kanye albums don't have. I love the sound of the album. Everybody hates Closed on Sunday, which I suspect is only because of the Chick-fil-A line. But I love that song. I love the energy, the flow, the sound. I guess people complain about the mixing, but that's its own thing. People, I think, tend to, I don't want to say pretend to know more about mixing than they actually do. But when people complain about the mixing and I go try to listen to the parts they complain about, I can never really hear it. And I even spoke to Mike Dean, who you can see here in the picture. Chris and I went to Mike Dean's house for a Forbes interview, and he kind of had the same reaction. Yeah, people are always complaining about the mixing and I don't know what they're talking about half the time. So I don't know. I've always enjoyed the sound of Jesus is King. I love the way it's mixed. And, but the dissatisfaction, I kind of wonder if it's less to do with the mixing, which again, I would doubt they'd put out an album that just had awful mixing all over it, but more to do with the emotional weight of it and the scope of it, because I mean it really is kind of a simple album when you think about it. Kanye was in his simple album mode then with Kids See Ghost and Ye, short succinct albums getting at one idea. Ye was really about dealing with being bipolar and managing these two sides of yourself. It's a very succinct story, and Kids See Ghost is kind of the opposite side of that. It's a look at the internal. Ye is more of the external and how you're seen in the world and how you fit into the world. And then Kids See Ghost is this inner battle with your demons, kind of with the same general storyline, starting at a bad place and working yourself to a good, positive place. With Ye ending with being a good father and being good to your wife, and kind of thinking about how you come off to the people in your life and how you can be a positive force in their life. And then, of course, Kids See Ghost ending with God. That's how you bring light into your life internally, following the word of God and thinking about your actions and spreading the word of God through your actions. I went down a rabbit hole there. That cleanly leads into Jesus is King, which is an album where Kanye is reconnecting with God and announcing that he's a reborn Christian, in quotes, somebody who's ready to live his life in the footsteps of God, ready to spread the word of God, ready to live that life that the point he reached at the end of Kids See Ghost, he now wants to become that and go out into the world and be somebody who is Christian and makes a gospel album and kind of practices what he preaches, make it a part of his art. So in that sense, I wonder if that's more what they mean by dissatisfied with Jesus is King, because while I think Kanye is successful with that, with Jesus is King, when you compare it to Donda, you could see it feeling small in comparison, not just by the sheer number of songs, which Donda has more than twice as many songs, of course, but just the scope and the reach of Donda, how it is this Christian album, and it does deal with your relationship with God and how you could spread the word of God. But attached to that are all these other little facets of life, just, violence in the community, blackness, your role as a family man, like how you move on from divorce, all these, how you inspire the upcoming generation of artists and leaders. That's all really mixed in to Donda in a way that it's not in Jesus is King, at least not so explicitly. You could say that's all inherently part of Jesus is King if you're living your life as a Christian, and that is generally your vision, we know, is of Kanye. Like, that's all wrapped up in there, but it's, again, very explicit in Donda and very much a part of the lyricism and the themes and the motifs. Like, it's all kind of like woven in this like epic way. Donda's much more of an epic, and Jesus is King is like a novella, It doesn't go for as much. So I kind of wonder if that's what they mean by dissatisfied, because Donda is like, it's the most ambitious Kanye probably ever was. Like, at this point in his career, he doesn't have to put out an album with that many songs and that many ideas with that many features, but he did. And it seems so Kanye to, like, if he looks at Jesus is King and feels disappointed with the message he was trying to put out, that he would think, like, how do I fix this? Like, oh, I'll put out 3 albums dedicated to my mom. They're all a trilogy, and it's this grand journey that I'm going to go on that isn't just one album like we've seen him do time and time again, but this grander vision, this idea of a trilogy. You could think of any trilogy out there. I would say The Matrix, but it's no longer a trilogy. But think about the first 3 Matrix movies. That story is so much more satisfying, even if you love the first movie more, which I agree the first movie is the best. It's able to achieve something bigger by stretching out the story and creating Neo as this Christ-like figure who has to die and be reborn. And there's just so much more there. So I wonder if that's what they mean by, like, well, like, let's make a Donda trilogy. We'll have to see if that's what actually happens. I mean, it does say potentially here. That is maybe the most key word amongst all these words. And you could also think of a lot of albums in Kanye's career as trilogies. You could think of College Dropout, Registration, and Graduation as a trilogy, going from this young dewy-eyed kid who wants to make it to achieving stardom and starting to build up his power and legacy, and then by graduation realizing how empty the celebrity life can be. There's tension throughout that kind of storyline, and different kinds of lessons are learned than if it would have just been College Dropout, right? Same could be said with probably, I guess, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, to Yeezus, to The Life of Pablo, The Search for Love, and how you go from somebody who just indulges in the trivial things in life and the superficial things in life, and how you find love and how you create something more than yourself, how you have a family and who you become as a result of that. You could see these sort of trilogies working throughout Kanye's career. So to candidly announce a trilogy would be an incredibly bold move that I am incredibly down for. 2 incrediblys in that sentence. That's how much I mean it. That would be awesome, and a very Kanye-like thing to do, considering he thinks of himself as, like, more than a rapper. He's an artist, he's a storyteller, and he's very infatuated by movies. So to think that he envisions an album storyline as a trilogy, which is very movie-esque, is no surprise to me, and I would love to see him tackle that. That would be awesome. Okay, so that's the news today. The news today is this might happen, but it might never happen. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. And I will say, if anybody can find this black thing, I mean, I don't even know what you call it. I'm not even sure air exists in here. I kind of just like floating in here. It doesn't look like I'm floating, but I am. Please join me. You could be in one of these videos with me, and that would be fun. It would be nice to have some sort of human interaction, because it gets very lonely in here, and sometimes I just start floating and I don't know where I am, and I don't find my computer again for days, and that's tough. Like, that's kind of all I have at this point is you guys on YouTube telling me, complaining about my opinions on Lupe Fiasco. All right, no, I love you guys. Thanks. Bye. Stay wavy and keep it loopy.